Welcome, everyone, to the Dr. Abs Healthcast. I'm your host, Dr. Brian Abasolo, aka Dr. Abs. And on today's show, we have intermittent fasting coach and author Laurie Lewis. Her story is very interesting. First off, menopause dealt her a crushing blow. Brain fog, lack of balance, memory loss, and sudden gain of 50 pounds of stubborn hormonal fat. She tried absolutely everything she knew to feel better, and the methods that worked in the past made no difference this time around. After 4 years of struggle, Laurie stumbled upon intermittent fasting and started fasting that very same day. The menopausal fog lifted in less than 1 week. She had more energy and felt, quote unquote, like herself. She lost 51 pounds in 15 months and has kept it off for years. Now, at the age of 60, Laurie has turned her personal success into the premier thriving intermittent fasting coaching business. As a certified health coach, she combines her knowledge of nutrition with deep research and practice of time-restricted eating. Laurie guides her clients with a dream come true: eat the foods you love and enjoy the rest of your life feeling vibrantly well. I'm very excited to talk to Laurie because I love this subject. So let's bring on Laurie Lewis. Welcome to the Healthcast, Laurie. How are you doing today?
I am doing great, Brian. Thank you. It's awesome being with you.
Great having you on. And I'm actually very excited about this subject because I actually do it myself. I incorporate it into my weight loss programs, and we're going to be talking about intermittent fasting. And you are an expert, an intermittent fasting coach and author on the subject. And I want to learn all about it because I feel like it's something that can help so many people out there, just like it helped you. So why don't we start off by, let's hear your story. Like, how did you get involved with intermittent fasting and how did it help you?
Well, I hope that people who are listening will stay because I heard someone say yesterday, intermittent fasting, why would you do that? That sounds like torture. So, in our conversation today, I think that you and I will show that people, myself and the thousands of people I've coached, and I'm sure everyone that you have supported as well, and yourself, feel so much better. So, how is that even possible? And for me, I started studying nutrition for my own pleasure. In my late 20s, I remember having this thought, which was, I think this Diet Coke isn't good for me. It was just kind of like a hunch and a big aha. And so I cut out all sweetness and most ultra processed food, 30 years ago. I'm going to be 60 in a few weeks. And so I delved into what is the best way to fuel your body. And so everyone in my life knew me as a super healthy person who's interested in nutrition. And fast forward to my mid 40s, perimenopause, which is the transition phase between a woman's fertility years and menopause, there can be about a 5 to 13, 14-year period of hormonal transition. And for me, it was absolute hormonal chaos. I felt like I'd been pushed down a deep, dark hole and I was down there alone feeling terrible. And suddenly in menopause, I gained 50 pounds. Boom,
Wow.
just 50 pounds. And it
Didn't change
seemed
anything in like your
obvious.
diet, nothing, like it was just out of the
No.
blue. Wow.
I always say, Brian, I ate the exact same way when I was lean and fit and running marathons. I ate the exact same way when I gained 50 pounds. I
Wow.
ate the exact same way when I lost 50 pounds. What was the difference? So the difference was that after 4.5 years of really suffering, and it wasn't just the weight gain, it was head to toe aching and pain and brain fog and memory loss. And I was the hurting pup. And after trying everything, remember, I like knew a thing about nutrition and turning around health challenges
Yeah.
and through natural means, if you will, and fitness and sleep. And so one night I was home in Colorado where I grew up, and my mom said, let's use this time that you're home to turn the weight around.
Hint, hint.
Like, I'm like, what do you think? I'm just going to snap my fingers, and I've been trying. And I literally, Brian, I was in her kitchen. I turned into a 5-year-old having a temper tantrum. I lost it
Yeah.
and I'm crying and wailing. And what am I supposed to do? And I've tried everything. And maybe I'm just supposed to succumb to feeling worse and worse forever, and she said, well, let's pray for an answer. And I mean, who knows where's this answer going to come? And so that night I was on my computer and on my phone in bed, probably on my phone. And I Googled the same thing I always Google, which is like hormonal menopause, middle-aged woman, weight loss, help me.
Yeah.
And up popped the words intermittent fasting. And I was familiar with longer therapeutic fasting, but I never knew that you could have a daily fasting schedule to really put your body into a digestive rest, a hormonal balancing. And I stayed up all night, read about it. It sounded like it made a lot of sense to me, and it sounded like I could do it. And the next morning I told her, and she said, "How may I support you?" And I said, well, I'm going to try to not eat before noon. I'm going to drink plain water and plain black coffee and see how I do. And within 3 days, okay, so
Wow.
I hadn't lost a pound, but within 3 days, I felt like myself again. Like
Felt the difference.
I
Yeah.
was steady and clear. And at that point in the early time, I was just doing a 16-hour fast starting on day one, 16-hour clean fast. You sleep for 8 of it, and an 8-hour eating window. And pretty quickly, I felt like that was just kind of too long, so I shrank it. And each person can discover for themselves what is their sweet spot.
Right.
Some
Right.
people have a 2-hour eating window. Some people have a 10-hour eating window. It depends on your goals. And so I
Yeah.
lost that 50 pounds in about 15 months. And then everybody was asking me, how did you do that? And I had already gotten a health coaching certification from the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. I never thought I was going to use it. It was just for fun. And so I put it to use. And so now after um, 6 years of every day having an eating window, I've been coaching thousands of people and
Yeah. Yeah.
customizing their approach.
And now
And
you mentioned customizing, and everybody has their sweet spot, as you mentioned. Like, I guess for the audience out there, there's 16-8 where like you mentioned, you fast for 16. Then there's 18-6. There's people that do OMAD, one meal a day. Like, what have you noticed in your experience coaching so many people? What have you noticed works best? Or is it, like you mentioned, just everybody's different, everybody adapts to different programs? Like, is there one better than the other if they were decided to go that route?
there isn't one best or correct eating window for everybody. And it changes all the time. So in the beginning, when someone's new, I recommend some consistency because
Yeah.
you're creating a new habit. But if someone's sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, that sounds like torture, whatever sounds like torture, don't do that. You might surprise yourself, and
Yeah.
down the road, you might suddenly feel like, wow, a little snack and a meal most days, that feels really good. Some people fast longer on their Monday through Friday work days and then have a shorter. Some people do the opposite. They're like, yeah, I feel so much more productive at work when I just have a midday snack and then get home and eat dinner and or
Yeah.
work out in the morning and work, and then on the weekends have a longer eating window. So each person, you want to decide where you are today. The easiest thing to do to start is, when do you normally stop eating in the evening? And a lot of people are like, well, I stop eating my dinner at 7:30, but then I, open up the fridge and freezer cabinets
Little
later. Okay,
snack, late
that's
night
another.
snack.
Nobody ever had a late night snack in all human history until
Right.
now. So just decide what time you're going to close your eating window and drink plain water and go to bed early and wake up tomorrow and try and add 12 hours. Okay. So let's say you stopped eating at 8 o'clock tonight, or 6 or 10. You get to decide. Add 12 hours, drink plain water, drink plain black coffee, and try and get to that 12-hour point. If you don't, who cares? You tried. Try again tomorrow.
Yeah.
And if some people are like, 12 hours, that's nothing, then shoot for noon. And
Little by
from
little.
there, yeah, if a person has is suddenly been diagnosed pre-diabetic, or their A1C is getting higher and higher, or you have autoimmune things, or you've got excess fat you're carrying around, then maybe you want to inch along and have that eating window get a
Yeah.
little smaller.
Yeah.
and play around with it. It's not the fasting
Absolutely.
Olympics. There should be no
Absolutely.
suffering. No suffering.
And what's your eating window currently? Like, what are you doing right now?
Oh, Brian. See, I always tell people I don't tell because, in this in this world, it's like everybody wants to know the exact answers and follow the leader, right?
Yeah.
And I just, all right, I'll tell you what I did in the beginning. So, as I said, I aimed for noon. And after, I don't know, 10 days or so, I was like, this 8 hour window kind of seems long. So I just naturally shrank it to about 6 hours.
Yeah.
So I was fasting 18 hours. You take the 24-hour day and chop it into two parts, the fasting and the eating window. And after about 2 months of 18/6, someone challenged me to a 20-hour fast. And let me tell you, there's a difference between 18 hours and 20.
Those two
Woo!
hours,
Those 2 hours.
those are huge.
And what I needed to do was kind of embrace the challenge of it. Like, that's an enjoyable, sure, I'm up for that. And then really get present. For me, what was incredibly motivating to me was envisioning the healing that's taking place in my body
Yeah.
every hour I'm fasting. So I view the fasting hours as the hours I'm in repair, deep cellular repair, hormonal balancing, fat burning. Okay. So, ketones, the fat coming out of my fat cells and through my bloodstream, through my liver, turning into ketones and fueling my brain and avoiding Alzheimer's. So
Yeah.
I get very motivated by every minute that I'm in a fasted state, the repair that's happening. And then in terms of getting to that 20 hours, I really started to enjoy a nice, icy, cold glass of mineral water in a beautiful glass at about the 17, 18-hour mark as a treat, and then getting to 20 and really enjoying a nice eating window opening snack, like, hard boiled eggs and avocado and some olives and a little smorgasbord, and then having a big, delicious meal later. And after that first 4 hour eating window and 20-hour fast, I really felt like that was my jam.
That was
I
your jam.
love a 4 hour eating window. Other people love 5 or 6. Other people are like, you know what? To reach these health markers that I need to dramatically, importantly improve,
Yeah.
some people feel very motivated to have like a 2 hour eating window. But what we need to remember is we want to get into fat burning. We're fat adapted. We're fasting clean, plain unflavored water, plain unflavored black coffee. Save the flavor party for later for your eating window. And we want to get that body into the fat burning state. And when it is, we feel bright and alert and sharp and focused and productive. And being fat adapted, the body realizes there's plenty of fuel here. I mean, I'm at my ideal weight and have been for 5 years. And I'm about 22% body. Like I said, I'm 60. So, like a quarter
You look
of
great, by
myself
the
is
way. You
fat.
look
Thank
great.
you. I'm not going to be running out of fat anytime soon. So, my body's fueling on fat while I'm in a fasted state. And then we want to eat well in the eating window, not like little picking at this and picking at that and counting calories. It's like, no, when you're an intermittent faster, your body's informing you of how much fuel it wants you to eat today. It's what we call appetite correction. And
Yeah.
you get super tuned in to, this is the amount of food my body wants today, and you eat to satiety. So when people are like, are you not eating enough? It's like, no, you should eat a meal with me and see how much I eat, because the dance of fat burning during the fasting hours and then eating very well in the eating window, it increases, improves the metabolic rate. So it's a beautiful way to live. So to answer your question, generally a 4 hour eating window still makes me very happy, but for special occasions, or I don't fret at all. If someone invites me to breakfast, I'm going to have a longer eating window that day, or
Right. Right.
I'll slide that eating window early and then fast long the next day.
Right. Right.
You can't screw this up. You
Yeah.
can't screw
You
this
don't
up.
have to be
Just
so strict. Like, you can adapt. Like, I'm the same way. I do On the weekends, yes, since you do go out to eat and whatnot, or you eat a little earlier with your loved ones, I usually do a 16-8 on the weekends, but during the week, I'm pretty strict about it. I do a 16-8, but I got to try that 20-24 window. I haven't tried that yet, but the 16-8 for me from 2 to 8, that's my window right there. So, I mean, I still got several hours before I'll even put anything in my body, calorie wise, but yeah, no, I feel great. A couple things you brought up. I wanted to ask you, you mentioned eating well and how key that
Mm,
is. Any particular foods, diet that you actually use within those 4 hours? Can you talk a little bit about that? And then I also,
yes.
after that, want to get into, what you touched on it a little bit, like what happens when you give your body that
Okay.
rest from having to break down all that food that, some people are eating all day.
Okay. It's so fun. So regarding food, my approach is if a person keeps it very, very simple for themselves and does one thing at a time, start having an eating window today. You can do this forever, every day, forever. Know when you're eating today. So it's not like I'm doing it and not doing it and doing it and not doing it. You have an eating window every day. There is a time when you start eating and a time when you end
Yes.
your intake of nutrients and flavors. And we just want to squish it. And so in the beginning, very simply, like I said earlier, you decide when you're closing your eating window today and you try and go to bed and then try and go for 12 hours. Regarding food, in the beginning, in the beginning, eat normally. Everybody's like, what's that? Well, how do you normally eat?
Right,
What
right.
do you normally eat? Okay, so don't don't do everything at once. Hit in the
Don't go
gym
from
and
0 to
yeah,
100 right away.
no, that is a recipe for burnout. And
Yes.
what is so beautiful about fasting clean and eating in an eating window and having a daily intermittent fasting practice is it's 100% sustainable. You can have an eating window every day forever. So what will happen is you'll open your eating window and you eat normally, and then you have another meal later, and then you have another meal later, and you close your eating window.
Right.
At some point, it's a miracle. Your body will start telling you what it does and does not want. And at some point, you and I have thousands of clients that demonstrate this in our sessions and in our classes together. At some point, they'll go, I'm kind of feeling like I might want to cut out fill in the blanks. That person discovered that on their own through this foundation of having a daily fasting practice. So the daily fasting practice on its own has people kind of wake up and realize that their body is not interested in ultra processed food. Our body is designed to eat actual food. So I always say, if you're not hungry for an apple, if you're like, man, I'm starving, and someone goes, here's an apple, and you're like, yeah, I don't want, no, you're not hungry. If you're not, if you can't sit down to, now, if you can't sit down to a nice piece of salmon and some Brussels sprouts and some sweet potatoes and and an apple, you're actually not hungry
Right, right.
because we have been conditioned to love and crave the hyper palatable food that the food industry is creating for us, and awesome packaging, and it's so portable, and but our body isn't designed for that.
Right.
So start with your fasting regimen and develop this amazing conversation, communion, relationship with your body where it starts saying to you, yeah, no, I don't want that anymore.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
sometimes we can speed it along. Again, if someone's health issues are dire enough that we really want to see their A1C come down like ASAP, then yeah, there's some things to cut out. And then we look at caffeine and sugar and
Sugar, yeah.
alcohol and even energy bars. Why? That and creamer, look at the creamer shelves in the grocery
Those
store and
hidden
the
those
energy
hidden
bar aisle.
ingredients. Yeah, those hidden
Woo!
ingredients that aren't so easy to decipher, to the common layperson, but yeah, they have a lot of, processed ingredients in there and hidden sugars and whatnot. So from what I got, stick to whole, nutritious, unprocessed foods within your window, and you should be good, correct?
Yes. And, I'm just thinking of some particular clients in my mind now that if they had been told in the beginning that they needed to apply whatever diet principles that they've been trying for their whole lives. Some people got put in Weight Watchers when they were 8 years old. They've been dieting for 50 years
Yikes.
and up and down and up and down and up
Yeah.
and down. And
Yo-yo.
so we've got to start with the most sustainable, stable practice, which is putting your body into that healing state. So you also asked me what actually happens, right?
Right,
In
right.
when we're in a fasted state. So first thing is your body's fueling on the food you last ate and the sugar in your blood. And then that blood sugar, blood glucose, can also get stored in many places in the body, but primarily the liver, called glycogen, which is just stored glucose, stored sugar.
Yeah.
And then once you're fat adapted, which is, let's say, the first 3 to 4 weeks of keeping a consistent intermittent fasting schedule, let's say you did 12-12 for a few days and you inched up to a 16-hour fast and an 8-hour eating window, and you kept that going for 2, 3. Some people are like, I've never done anything for 2 or 3 weeks ever consistently in my life. And they feel like this is, I can do this. I
Yeah.
feel really
Yeah.
well.
Doable.
And so you get into that point, which is what we call fat adapted, which is your body is then transitioning from using the glucose in your blood to
Burning
using the
fat.
stored glycogen in your liver to burning body fat.
Yes.
That's what it's there for. Yay. And then once you're fat adapted, at about 12 to 13 hours fasted every day, that's when your body's shifting into fat burning. So let's say you close your eating window at 7 p.m. and you drink plain water and you sleep and you wake up and you have a cup of black coffee and you maybe go to the gym, and about 7 or 8 the next morning, you've shifted into burning your own body fat for fuel.
Right.
And insulin is low. We have over 80 hormones. People feel like I'm so hormonal. Well, we're usually thinking about 3, 4, 5 hormones, but there's 80 plus.
Yeah.
And those little communication messengers, a hierarchy of chemical messengers, really are trying very hard to do their job. And fasting allows all the body's faculties to start doing their job as designed. And one of the most miraculous things that's happening is a process called autophagy,
Mm-hmm.
where especially ramps up around 18 hours fasted. So it's always happening. It's not like autophagy stops, but it really up regulates when we're in the fasted state, especially approximately around 18 hours fasted. And what autophagy is a deep cellular cleanup. So, when you send your car in to be detailed and it's all, dusty and dirty, and then you get it back 3 hours later and it's sparkly. You can't, I mean, it's just like, it's just off the sales lot. It's so
Right.
clean. That's what
Good as
happens with
new.
our cells,
Yep.
as literally as good as new. So I've said a few times this idea of the clean fast, and the reason I am the only aspect of intermittent fasting with me that is strict, let's say, like non-negotiable, is the clean fast, which is plain unflavored water, plain unflavored black coffee, plain unflavored black or green tea.
Yep.
Is especially because of this autophagy.
Right.
And when any nutrients or any flavors are introduced at the time you think you're fasting, your body perceives that as incoming fuel, and the autophagy down regulates, which
Right.
I'm like, heck no, not on my watch. I'm keeping that full steam ahead. It actually makes fasting easier to fast clean, which sounds a little counterintuitive, but when your body thinks it gets food flavors like lemon or cucumber or sweetness, it thinks,
Yeah.
yay, the nutrients are coming in, and it prepares itself to receive food. And you think you're fasting and you're and so the body gets grumpy and it's like, where's the food? So fast, clean, save the food for later for your eating window, and really be present to that deep cellular clean out and that incredible ability of your body to utilize, tap into this seemingly unlimited fuel source called body fat.
Right,
It's
right.
very exciting.
I wanted to ask you how, because I have a lot of patients that, we're going back to those late night snacks that we spoke about, how important it is to, not eat, right before bed, and how, your sleep can improve with intermittent fasting. Like, how did your sleep, transition, when you started intermittent fasting, giving your body that time to rest and, not have to worry about breaking down all this food, but actually, like you said, repairing itself? Like, how have you noticed a change in your clients?
Well, I love that question because sleep, I liken fasting to sleep. Like sleep is imperative, right? And most people are
Absolutely.
sleep deprived,
Yes.
but everybody knows at some point in the night, I'm going to get horizontal and close my eyes and get X number of hours of sleep. And fasting is the same. It's that important. It's just we didn't know it. And so now I'm getting the word out that
Yeah.
fasting is as important as sleep. And the way sleep has improved for me, which is very rare for a woman in menopause to say my sleep's gotten better,
Yeah.
is that in the beginning, again, people got to remember, do what you normally do in the beginning. So if you're someone who eats right up until bed, we all know that's not the healthiest thing to do, and that affects our sleep because we don't want to be in peak digestion mode as we're laying down to rest.
Right.
But for people who feel better doing that initially, keep doing what you normally do. So I am someone who prefers eating late. And so it's been gradual over the years that of my intermittent fasting regimen for 6 years that I've moved my eating window a little earlier. But do what has you feel well. Some people are like, oh, no way. I cannot go to bed on a full stomach. I've got to go to bed on an empty stomach.
Right.
And then other people are like, that I can't go to sleep on an empty stomach. I have to feel full. Like there are
Yeah.
two types. And so, again, in the beginning, have your eating window at a time that works for your daily schedule, your physiology, that feels good to you. And then, I have an Aura ring, OURA, measures all, my body temperature and heart rate variability and all, movement and so forth. And what I especially appreciate about my Aura ring is that it tells me all the details, all the data of my sleep. And I can see in the data that if I eat too close to bedtime, like less than 2 hours, if I close my eating window less than 2 hours before sleeping, my sleeping is not as consistent.
Mm.
And so when I stop eating, I close my eating window 2 to 3 hours before bedtime. My heart rate variability, my heart rate, my body temperature, my deep sleep, my REM sleep, it's all better. And my sleep
Yeah.
score is
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
So, again, in the beginning, do what's most natural for you. And then over time, people will naturally and gradually start to feel inspired to incorporate more of those healthy habits that we
Right.
know
Right. Right.
statistically and we can see the data
Yeah.
actually work better for our human physiology. So
So
I'm
ideally,
sleeping great.
yeah. So ideally, I mean, I know there's, a common thing out there that, don't eat 3 hours before, bed, to give your body time to the rest and kind of like adapt. So is that a general rule that at least people should try to strive for?
I think so. It's been scientifically proven and I can
Yeah.
see it in my own data. But
Gotcha.
again, if someone's out there going, I work night shifts and I have
Right.
this
Right.
tiny little
Schedule.
time that I can eat and then I've got to get to bed. And people need to do what works best for their life. But if they start with daily fasting as a foundation, they can naturally start to look at hydration and nutrition and sleep and movement. Most people, look around, most people do not enjoy having a fitness regimen and going to the gym and exerting themselves in a strong fitness way. I mean, and so I really encourage people to start walking,
Mm, yes.
Start walking 5 minutes after a meal.
Get
It's
those steps in.
amazing, amazing to see what happens to your blood glucose if someone wears a continuous glucose monitor. You could see you eat your meal, your blood sugar goes up, go for a 5, 10, 15-minute walk, comes right back down and normalizes. So
Yeah.
everybody can stand up and start walking a little more.
Yeah.
And that would be my, strong encouragement after
Yeah.
someone establishes a daily fasting schedule.
What tips do you have? Because I have some patients that are they're so used to, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. They want to eat, the moment they wake up or shortly thereafter. And they think of fasting like, oh my God, I'm going to be starving. I can't do it. I can't do it. What tips do you suggest for those people to, to get them over that adaptation period? Because obviously they're trying something new, their body's going to be in a little bit of shock. Like what are the best tips that you would advise them to do in order to get through that adaptation period to get to that point where they're feeling amazing with the intermittent fasting?
So I would love to know where everybody got this idea that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And the reality of the answer to that question is Kellogg's.
Yes.
So over a
Exactly.
hundred years ago, the breakfast cereal company invented breakfast cereal and wanted people to buy it and eat it. So that is what I call medical mythology.
Yes.
And if somebody loves breakfast, okay, now some people might love a gorgeous breakfast on the weekend, but if you think about the breakfasts that most people are eating, that is not an awesome, delicious, amazing, scrumptious breakfast. It's
Right.
on the run. It's horrible, highly processed, really
Pastries and
very bad
donuts. Yeah.
coffee creamer, which
Yeah,
when
exactly.
people say, don't take away my coffee creamer, like they hold on to their coffee cup
Yeah.
like a death
I'm
grip,
telling you.
it is the most addictive. I mean, that stuff is designed to be addictive. And the way is how passionate people are about their coffee flavored coffee creamer.
I feel
It's
you on
like, I'm
that.
going to pry that out of your hand.
Yeah.
Okay. So, um, the other thing you said was, okay, let's see. If someone loves breakfast, then have an early morning eating window. You don't have to have dinner. Move
Exactly.
your eating window to have breakfast and lunch and shut that eating window down at 2 and fast until 6 the next morning. It's
Or have
everybody.
breakfast for dinner, right? Or breakfast for lunch. Like,
Exactly.
yeah.
And if you love breakfast food, have that whenever you want in your eating window. But if you love eating in the morning, eat in the morning.
Right.
But the other thing is the way you asked that question was kind of like someone sitting there, they haven't tried it yet, and they're thinking, gosh, that sounds terribly hard. That
Yeah.
sounds like torture.
Overwhelming for
They
some people.
haven't
Yeah.
tried it yet.
Yeah.
And my approach in starting is very gradual. Dr. Sachin Panda at the Salk Institute in La Jolla is a circadian expert, and he's proven that people, even if you do a 12-12 schedule or 13-11, 13 hours of fasting and 11-hour eating window, you will increase your longevity, increase your lifespan. So getting everybody on earth, people are like, oh, well, it's not for everybody. Yeah, it actually is. Everybody can do a 12-12. Okay. So you gradually increase, and I promise, truly promise, people can write me and tell me I'm wrong, but I promise if you try, close your eating window today, drink plain water, wake up tomorrow, drink plain water, cup of black coffee. I know you're screaming out there. I can hear it already. And then when you open your eating window, you can have your candy coffee, have your breakfast, and try 12-12, try 13-11, try 14-10, inch along. And if you don't feel better in 3 days, write me and tell me you don't feel better, because
Yeah.
and I'll give you a solution. We'll work it out.
Yeah.
But you will
Yeah.
feel better. And envisioning what it's going to be like. I always say we can envisioning what dieting is like because we've done it before. Little tiny miserable meals all throughout the day, never feeling satisfied, but maybe having the reward and benefit of some weight loss. But then it all comes rushing back. Like we can envision dieting. If you've never tried having a fasting schedule, you can't envision it, and so you think that it's going to be miserable. The reality is dieting is miserable and fasting is actually energizing. So it's not a punishment, it's a replenishment, and you will feel better. And we'll keep tweaking it until you do. That's the
Yeah.
customization.
Yeah. You obviously talked about menopause. It's a big part of your story. Does intermittent fasting, I don't know if there's like a notion out there that it possibly wrecks not only the metabolism, but also is bad for women's hormones.
Mm,
Can you
mm,
talk a little
mm,
bit
mm.
about that?
Yes, that is, I don't understand it. I don't understand why anyone is saying it wrecks women's hormones when what it actually does is balances our hormones. It gives
Mm,
our thyroid, it lowers cortisol, it, balance estrogen and progesterone and testosterone and it's melatonin. I mean, it's all of our hormones are balancing. Again, when you're approaching fasting like I am, which is it's not a hard push. Again, this is not the fasting Olympics. This should not be a hard struggle where, again, creating a terrible, stressful, chronic state where cortisol is raised. We're putting the body into a rest,
yeah.
and it likes that. And will there be moments where you'll have thoughts of food or a hunger wave? Notice the hunger wave just comes and goes. And in 20 minutes, you stay busy and you're feeling great. You're feeling normal. You're feeling focused. The thoughts of food are now off your mind. And so the only reason I could say that a woman should fast differently than some women should fast more gently or differently than other people is if they're still in their menstrual cycle, that the days before their period comes, to not be hard on yourself, to notice that the body's asking for more food in those days,
Right.
and to not succumb to the ultra processed food cravings that your body's probably giving you, and to really have a longer eating window and focus on incredibly nourishing food during those days. And again, to have the fasting hours be gentle and feel well and be present to the amount of healing that's happening, and then looking forward to opening that eating window later and knowing what delicious food you'll be eating. So a woman and friend named Jen Stevens wrote an incredible bestseller called Delay, Don't Deny. And then she wrote a New York Times bestseller called Fast, Feast, Repeat. And those two books really demonstrate how pleasurable it is to wait, to delay, not deny, to wait until later to eat the delicious food that you're looking forward to eating. So when a woman decides for herself what eating window feels really good, our hormones are in repair and balancing. We're not trashing them. And then you also
Exactly.
mentioned metabolism. Again, we're burning fat, we're fasting clean, tapping into our body fat, we're fat adapted, and then eating well. We're not counting calories, we're not measuring, we're tuning into our body communicating to us. We have an appetite center, an apostat in our brain. And that's where our hunger and satiety hormones are balancing and communicating to us what we need today, what nourishment it needs. And then it tells us, stop eating now. And I know if someone out there hasn't ever tried it, it is impossible to imagine that your own body could inform you to stop eating. And again, that's a really motivating, exciting reason to test this out, to be like,
Absolutely.
really? Do I think that my own body could tell me, you can stop now, I'm not hungry anymore, without that stuffed feeling? It's just the body going, yeah, wrap that up. Don't
Yeah.
finish
I'm
that.
I'm
Don't finish
good.
that. I'm good. It's
Yeah.
literally, I love that you said it like that. It's literally saying, I'm good. I'm good. We're good.
Yeah.
You can stop now.
Yeah. Absolutely. So just to finish up with an inspiring story, can you just give me like any client of yours that comes to your mind where, intermittent fasting absolutely changed their life and like what they experienced, what their results were, and how they're doing today? Just to motivate
Oh,
the audience out there to do this amazing tactic.
such a flood of people. I mean, I wish I could list them all, eczema going away, fatty liver. 40% of Americans have fatty liver disease and don't know it.
Wow.
And countless clients who within 3 4 months have normalized their liver enzymes and don't have fatty liver disease anymore. And A1C moving from type 2 diabetes into pre-diabetes phase, and then lowering their A1C below 5.6 within 4 months. And let me just think of one particular. I mean, people with whose extreme anxiety has balanced and reduced, and
Wow.
people
Amazing.
who have this experience that I think the best part of working with someone for a year or more is that there becomes this incredible point around, I've noticed around the 7 8 month point, where they're like, oh, I get it now. And the diet mindset, the noise has quieted. There's a deep appreciation, a reverence for the body. And that
Like the light bulb
my
goes off.
wish, the light bulb goes off, but it's like this settling of my body and I are in this together, right? It's kind of funny
Yeah.
to think of like me, my consciousness is separate from my body, but this experience of deep appreciation for the body. And I know so many people are out there thinking your body's working against you, your body's your enemy, you hate it, it's not perfect. And there could be nothing further from the truth. It's
Right.
you are magnificent. It is magnificent. And fasting allows us this discernment and this space. I love to say that intermittent fasting is not a diet, it's a quiet. And so I'm sorry, I'm not going to tell you about one person. I'm just going to tell
No,
you about all
you
sorts of
mentioned
beautiful results.
yeah, you mentioned a ton of results there. Just the overwhelming benefits of intermittent fasting are absolutely amazing. And I just want to thank you for coming on and just sharing your story and just sharing all the knowledge that you brought onto the show today. Laurie, where could people find you? I feel like we didn't even get to all the topics that we wanted to get
I know,
into,
it's so fun.
but where can people find you to learn more about intermittent fasting, your story, and what you're doing basically all over the world with people?
Yes, I have clients all over the world. It is such a joy. Every minute is such a pleasure for me. And my business is called Fast Forward. So it's Fast Forward Wellness. And I love hearing from people on my website. They can sign up for a free guide, a step by step. If you're like, wait, what were all those points that you said? Like how to get started, how
Yeah,
to stay with it. And then I do group programs on Zoom and I coach people one on one around the world. And I have clients in Kuwait and New Zealand and Japan and everywhere. And
amazing.
it's just such a pleasure for me. If anything I said resonates with you, that you reach out to me and we could do a complimentary 15-minute consultation. It's not a sales call. If someone wants to hire me, they know where to find me. Fast Forward Wellness.
Right.
And I love talking to people, and you can share what you're dealing with, and I'll give some guidance, and we'll go from there. Because, like I said earlier, everybody can keep an eating window. It's a consciousness. It's a focus. It's a caring about your body to fast, clean,
Absolutely.
and keep an eating window. So
Absolutely. So that's www.fastforwardwellness.com.
that's right.
Laurie, thank you so much for being on the show today. I really appreciate you. And let's talk soon.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Take care.